Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Daily Sales Message. This is episode 23, and that means for at least the last 23 days in a row, we have given you each and every day something that's going to be actionable and simple, that's going to help you to improve your sales performance and hopefully feel a little bit more confident too. If you're new here, my name is James Newell. I teach people how to sell. It comes in two parts. It starts with developing a clear sales message so people understand what you're selling. And the second part is developing selling confidence so you feel natural, comfortable, and confident in a selling situation. In this episode, we're looking at something that sounds so simple on the face of it, but it really makes a huge difference. And to be honest with you, most of the things I talk about are quite simple, really. Either you're not aware of them, or you are aware of them, you're just not doing them for whatever reason. But none of this stuff really is rocket science. It's all designed to be done pretty much instantaneously and for pretty much zero cost. I really hate perfect world theory and things where you listen to them and it sounds great, but you just can't put it into practice. So today, I want you to think about this, defining the problems that you solve. And I'll use myself as the example here. So when I tell people my company is called Clear Sales Message, they kind of smile and go, oh yeah, I know what you do. And yeah, they probably do. They could probably take a guess at what they think I do and they should be right, or at least in the ballpark. But when I tell them this next step, this is how they connect with me if what I do is actually relevant and applicable to their business. And I simply list out the three problems that I solve. I help people to simplify complex or technical offerings. I help people to differentiate in a crowded marketplace where everybody's doing pretty much the same thing and it's hard to stand out. And I help people to quote unquote justify the price. If you've got a high ticket offering or an intangible service based offering, sometimes it's hard for buyers to understand what they get for the money, and thus it's hard to justify the price. I hate the term justify because it kind of sounds like there's nothing there, but justifying the price, making sure people realize what they're paying for. So those are three problems that I solve: simplifying a complex offering, differentiating in a crowded marketplace, justifying the price. When you know that, you then understand, oh, actually, do you know what? We've got a technical offering and we are really struggling to explain this. Maybe James can help us. And maybe you're not going to get that just from Clear Sales Message. So defining the problems that you solve is a really interesting exercise to undertake. First of all, because it helps people to connect with you. But secondly, it gives you, in conversation, somewhere to hang your hat, and it allows you to be confident because somebody, somewhere, at some point, might ask you, hey, James, what kind of problems do you solve? What kind of things do you do? And if I give you anything other than, well, there's three, if I don't do that and I go, well, actually, I work with this company. If I start to go around the houses, you'll kind of get a sense that maybe I'm not very good at what I do. That's not actually the case, but it's one thing to be good at what you do. It's another thing to be good at communicating and selling what you do. So if you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, and if you're not prepared for questions, it can cost you the sale, ultimately. And at the very least, it will dent your confidence and damage your relationship because they think, oh, James sounded great on LinkedIn, but now I'm talking to him, not really sure. It doesn't really, a bit out of his depth. So doing your homework, defining the problems that you solve, doesn't have to be three, but it's got to be so few that you don't have to read it. Without notes, without preparation, you could reel it off. There's 5 problems we solved, there's 2, there's 1, there's 3, whatever. The number doesn't matter, but your ability to remember it and reel it off without notes or preparation, that is what counts. So that's the moral of the story for today's daily sales message. Define the problems that you solve. It helps with conversion. It also helps you to feel more confident and to sound like you know what you're talking about. Well, that's it for this edition of the Daily Sales Message. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at something which I call big numbers. Big numbers. And it's an interesting concept. It's another thing where we reframe something and look at it in a different way. But you have to tune in tomorrow to find out more about that. Thank you for listening. If you aren't already subscribed, please hit that button. If you would like to leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice, then by all means, go ahead and do so. And if you want to share this with somebody who you think is going to find it useful, I'm not going to say no, to be honest. Thanks very much in advance. That's great. That's it for this episode of the Daily Sales Message. I'll see you tomorrow when we're talking about big numbers.